Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's that time. Time for the breakdown of the Tuesday Friday sprint zone. So, it was a particularly windy day. Um, Coming up kind of at 5, we were working pretty hard. And so we make the turn, we're on, and it's like windy. People are sort of gassed here, and Carrie's out front, ramming and a thumping, looking to make something happen. So John's like not doing the whole echelon thing because I don't know, whatever. And so I decided I didn't want to slot in here and get myself some of the draft. And so there was a little bit of conversation between like the law and how many wide you're allowed to be, etc., which I need to go look up. But my thought was, you're not impeding traffic. We're good. So it's time to go do a little bit of work, and the echelon's working pretty good, but the wind is super strong out here, and so there's a gaggle of people behind me, Joel and Justin, Curtis, etc. Which we'll see these guys later. So, but we're working pretty hard. Carrie's on fire these days. I don't know what to say, what he's been eating, what he's been doing, but yeah, he's putting out some serious wattage. Yeah, I took a look at some of his Strava numbers since he's got a power meter, and his numbers were looking pretty good. I wouldn't mind having the output of his power meter for this one, or even mine for that matter, which hopefully I'll have next time I do this. I need a better recording instrument, and my Garmin will work, these other things don't, and I couldn't line them up. So, anyway, we have heart rate, so life is good. So, I'm more or less in the echelon, taking it pretty much not easy, but trying to make a little something happen. You can see my heart rate's up to like 162, 163, which this means that there must be some serious wind out there, and I'm working pretty hard. I know this is the top of the hill, so it's not going to be too much more where we can get some respite out of the whole thing. Uh, so it looks like there's Greg. He comes through, pushing a little bit. You can see he's working pretty hard by his the movements in his legs, and you can see that how the wind is hitting his jersey. You can see that flapping there. Yeah, so we're doing 20 miles an hour, but there's a good wind, and it's coming out of the northeast there. So hanging in there. As you can see, my heart rate's coming down. 156, 157. But here we'll get some real respite coming into this little hill section. So I'm gonna hit the outside line, try to save some energy on this one. Everybody's looking pretty smooth. I get a little bit of acceleration here, and then I'm gonna slot back in on these guys. Yeah, that was pretty smooth. Life is good. So, wish I had a rear camera. Don't know who's doing what behind, but people are working pretty hard. Greg is doing a monster pull. Carrie's taking it pretty much in stride. He's like into the wind a little bit, but he must be feeling pretty good. I'm more than happy to sit there in the draft. That looks like it's my turn to take over. Yep, Greg was slowing down a tiny bit. So now it looks like we're up to 20. And we get a little bit of respite here with a little bit of tailwind, so that should help us. So far, it looks like only Greg, myself, and Carrie were doing any work on this segment, but I know that the big men are behind us, so I'm looking for something to happen eventually. Leading into this, the wind's going to pick up again, hoping for some respite from these trees a little bit, and I felt a tiny bit of a break here, but really not much. So this game is definitely afoot. We're all committed now. Someone must have said car back and we slided over. Probably forced a little bit of guttering of people, but things aren't too bad. Speed looks good. Heart rate 158. So we're working, but we're not like going over the top into the 160s, which would be a problem. Greg takes over again. Jacks it up a little bit. John's working hard at the front. Looks like we have a little bit of a rotation here. Uh, this is really pretty awful because the wind is coming out of the northeast. So I'm like working hard, trying to stay in contact here. So my thinking is I'm gonna drift back and try to get in some of the echelon. Maybe we'll form one. This unfortunately was probably a little bit of a mistake for me being this far back, but I was looking for some shelter. Getting a little bit of recovery for myself. Greg slots in. Looks like Curtis is pushing pretty hard. Notice my heart rate's up to 165, so someone must have put a little microburst on here, and there's some struggling going on. Yeah, finally Curtis has come to the front. And this is the issue, right? So you have a lot of the strong men that sat back for a little bit, so I'm like not quite anaerobic, but I am working hard, and the guys that were fresh that were sitting in for a little bit, they can just go to the front and just rail it. But it's good training, so I'm good with it, which is why I'm here. Not looking to win anything, just looking to have a good hard effort here. So it looks like we have the selection. Looks like Justin, Joel, Curtis, Carrie, Greg, and myself. It was a pretty small group today, anyhow, and that was due to obviously the wind, and there was maybe a threat of rain, but that didn't ever materialize. But the wind, that always makes the weak cower and just stay home. So here we go. Life is like sort of almost okay, and I'm trying to recover, but I'm like guttered here. So the wind is really strong, and these guys are pushing pretty hard, and I'm thinking to myself, we really need a second echelon, but it's not happening. And here's the attack. So Carrie goes really hard, and since I was guttered, I didn't really have enough to make the selection here. It looked like Justin was struggling a little bit. As you can see, we got Carrie and Curtis a little bit off the front, and Joel kind of in no man's land. It looks like I tried to come around a little bit because the guys in front of me were just not able to do anything here to keep in contact, but it was just that little bit of a gap from the people that couldn't keep the wheels, which caused this separation. Really nice timing by Carrie and Curtis. That was pretty sweet there. And Joel looks like he's trapped a little bit, but I believe he's going to make contact. So I'm working pretty hard trying to like maybe shut some of this down. Greg realizes how dangerous this is, and now we're starting to get organized again. There's probably some shouting about echelon and getting organized by myself, and anyway, we are now. So it looks like we're trying to reel them back in, and we're doing a good job. So now um, we got John here that goes to the front. And he goes really hard. I thought we were doing pretty good in our little formation, but he forces Greg to go hard, blows up Justin now, so he can't hold it, and now I have to bridge. So my heart rate's in the 160s. I was able to bridge pretty easily, and it looks like we're making some good ground on them. At this point, it's pretty obvious that John's hubris got him into a little bit of trouble, and he's not going to be able to bridge this by himself. Notice our speed had dropped maybe a mile an hour or so. So Greg takes over, and you can see we are almost in contact. So close. And then it looks like the boys up front are starting to get organized. Uh, and Greg's working hard here. I mean, he's doing an excellent job bringing these people back, and now it's my turn to take over, trying to keep the speed up. We're doing 19 now. If I can hold that, life is good, and bring these guys in, and there's a glimmer that we can bring them back. Yeah, oh, 20 miles an hour, so I must have brought the speed up a little bit. I can see them just coming within just a whisper of a breath that we can maybe just bring them back in. And now there's a little bit of a grade here, and I suspect that Carrie and the boys are maybe sensing our presence, and they're going hard here. And you can see my speed has dropped. Looking for some help here. At this point, it's pretty clear that we are tired, and we've lost one of our engines, and so it's going to just have to be the three of us. Now, you can look at our speed now, right? 14, 15. Now there's like a wind, and you can look at John's jersey there. It's just blowing and flapping. Greg takes over, and he's still a little bit gassed, but he's doing pretty well. I'm trying to recover here. but my legs are burning from some of those accelerations. Well, and it looks like this is when they're starting to pull away. I make a feeble attempt at the front to try to bring these guys back, but at this point, it's like, oh, we are not gaining on them, and it's pretty clear that we need some extra help. But Carey and Curtis alone are just like too strong, and as soon as Joel gets into the mix, it's pretty much over. But we're working hard. I'm doing my share, at least I think I am. Um, Working pretty hard, thinking I'd like some help. But oh, and here we go. Here comes John. Yeah, you see his stroke. He's a little bit tired from like all the effort, but we're doing the best we can. Uh, Trying to recover. Notice that Greg skipped a turn because he blew himself up there. So now we're kind of in recover mode. And as you can see, the gap is just widening. Pretty much, it's game over here. And it was a big tactical error on my part for not being, close enough to the front. But who knew? Um, when some of the guys come out, you kind of know what their tactics are going to be. I didn't expect Carey to go hard there, but I should have known because the previous week he did that, and it was Carey and I that had a gap on the group, and they brought us back later on. At least some of the guys did, but that worked really well, and I should have remembered that that was going to happen again. So now at this point, mentally, I'm kind of like broken. I mean, it's a good effort, but we're not going to catch them. As you can see, my heart rate's like down to 152. So sitting in, I'm working, but not throwing a lot out there. Just happy to kind of sit here. If I recall, this was Tuesday, so I had one of those strength workouts the day before. My hamstrings were killing me. They were all sore and everything. And so I didn't quite have what I would have liked to, but that's okay because, when you have that hypertrophy soreness period and you do a little workout on top of that, that's when some of the bigger gains start to come. And since I haven't been doing a lot of rides over on the weekends like these other guys, 50, 60, 100 miles, and I think my biggest ride for the year has been like 38 miles. So, it's just good to have a good workout. And looking up the road, it's like, yeah, those boys are pretty much checked out. And the sprint is about over. Greg's coming for it. I slot back in, heart rate going down, and it's game over. And we're here. Yep, the coaster begins. Time to recover. Good job, good job by Kerry Curtis and Joel up there, who he was in no man's land, but he was able to bridge up to those guys. So that was a solid effort by everybody. Well done, well done. So we'll see how it goes like next week. Hopefully, tactically, I'll be up to the front and feeling a little stronger too. But it's definitely a challenge, and it's a learning experience. When you get caught back like that and you can't bridge, when you go to the real races and you see things like this developing and you realize that you need to be someplace that you're not, it's like a game of chess, and like no two chess games are the same. You're going to play things a little bit differently next time, maybe a little more teamwork out there, or we'll see. But well done, everybody. Yeah, now cooling down, gotta make the turn around. Yeah, yeah. And there she is. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.